Oh, Shanti, good evening.
Shanti, good evening.
Welcome,
Shanti, good evening.
Shanti. Is doing well. So today we have thought to take up the topic of attention, power of attention. Um, we've all celebrated Diwali, and remember in one of the blessings, it was mentioned that the diya will stay lit when the oil of attention is constantly poured. Right? And so the more I just uh, pay attention to that which is constant, to that which is eternal, to that which is real, that really is the spiritual effort, right? Mhm. So we thought to take up this topic of attention. Sometimes Baba would also say that don't have tension, have attention. Mhm. So sometimes, there is this line where a natural attention can become also a spiritual tension, right? Where I'm worried about the results. Right? And so the thought was today to look at attention a little bit deeper and uh, and try to see how to naturally just pay attention to the self, to the divine. Right? Mhm. So the power of attention. Um, so if we were to ask ourselves, what is attention? What do we say? What is attention? Mhm. What does it mean to have attention? There are different meanings, right? There one is like you pay attention to something that which is important, right? If say something important, we'll say, oh, pay attention to it. So if I'm concerned about getting good grades, say, pay attention to your studies, right? Mhm. It's like paying attention to, like a caregiver will pay attention to someone who is not that well, right? They will naturally pay attention, right? Paying attention also means to be cautious, right? Are you paying attention? Are you attentive? Like in a class, am I listening to the teacher with attention or am I just distracted? Right? When we used to have parade, march in our school days, we used to have two positions. One was stand at ease. You remember? I think we had this. And the other was attention. So it's like two modes of the, and when we are in attention, we cannot move. We really have to be, still. When stand at ease, then we can also relax. But attention, we cannot. Right? Mhm. And Baba mentions a lot of times that the real effort, spiritual effort, is nothing but natural attention. Natural attention. Right? Sometimes when someone is walking and they're not paying attention to the surroundings, then they can fall easily. Right? They are not careful. Right? And even when we drive on the trucks in India, especially, it is written on the back, attention. Right? Right? Horn, attention, please, like that. If we want to uh, kind of convey that something is very important, we'll say, okay, now attention, please. Right? So this is a lot of meanings, this word attention. Right? And so let's try and look into attention. Mhm. Says, what you pay attention to will grow. What you pay attention to will grow. So in my mind, there are a lot of different things, right? There may be some good experiences, there may be some not so good experiences, there may be some, victories, there may be some failures, but I choose to pay attention to something. And whatever I pay attention to, I am actually giving it energy. It will grow. Right? So just like in a garden, sometimes weeds will grow, sometimes even, good plants will also grow. So just like that in the mind, right? So whatever I pay attention to, it will grow. And so the very easy way to not allow any waste or negative to grow in the mind is to stop paying attention, right? It says your attention is your currency of experiences in life. Your attention is your currency of experiences in life. You can either buy tension or relaxation. Right? So whatever I pay attention to, that's what I experience. Right? If I pay attention to a tension or a problem, then what do I buy? Attention. If I pay attention to the good aspects, then I buy relaxation. So it's really the choice is in my hands. Whatever I want to pay attention to and whatever I want to ignore. Another way it says, think of attention as a highlighter. As you read through a section of text in a book, the highlighted section stands out, causing you to focus your interest in that area. Right? जब हम पढ़ते हैं तो अपने साथ एक अंडरलाइन करने के लिए पेन रखते हैं, जो भी important लगता है उसको हाईलाइट करते हैं. So that is kind of attention, right? So the highlighted section stands out, causing you to focus your interest in that area. So wherever there is attention, that portion gets highlighted. Right? And so, as we, rewind our day when we go to bed, there's certain scenes will stand out. And that is where I have paid attention. So whatever I've paid attention to will stand out in my mind, in my memory. Right? It says, if you don't like something, just take away its only power, your attention. Right? If you don't like something, just take away its only power, your attention. Only if I pay attention, only then I'm giving it power. Right? If I don't pay attention, I'm actually not giving it any power. And so it will automatically fade away. Right? So it's a very small thing, small word, but it is very powerful. Like, what do I pay attention to? So we have this little clip. We'll watch and then we'll go forward.
Every day you wake up, the world greets you with infinite possibilities. But the truth is, your experience of life is not shaped by the world itself. It is shaped by the way you choose to see it. Your attention is like sunlight. Wherever you direct it, life begins to grow. Focus on fear, and fear expands. Focus on gratitude, and blessings multiply. This is not philosophy, it's the hidden law of consciousness. In silence, you discover the voice of wisdom. The world around you is loud, distracting, and endlessly demanding. But the deeper truths of life are found only when you turn inward. Just a few minutes of stillness can shift the course of your entire day. We spend so much of our lives trying to control what is outside of us people, circumstances, the future. But wisdom begins the moment we realize that true power is not in controlling life, but in aligning with it. When you let go, you discover flow. Ask yourself, what am I feeding with my attention? Every thought is a seed. Every feeling is water. Every action is sunlight. And slowly, without noticing, you grow into the very reality you've been nurturing. Choose carefully. The truth is simple. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself through your eyes. Every breath you take is the proof of your connection to something infinite. And when you understand this, fear dissolves and wisdom rises.
Says every thought is like seed, every feeling is like water, and every action is like sunlight. So it's really, I'm the creator of my life. Right? There's nothing else outside that is creating my life. I'm creating it by choosing to pay attention consciously. Right? So that is in my control. Another quote, it says, the successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus. Right? The successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus. So he knows where to pay attention and where not to pay attention. And there is a very classic story, right, about in Mahabharata, is the story of Arjuna. It's like Arjuna and his brothers are learning, what do you call in English? The archery, correct, archery. And their guru says you have to target the eye of the bird or fish or whatever was there, right? And so the guru then asks everyone, what is it that you are seeing? And so everyone said, I'm seeing the tree, the branch, the bird, everything. But Arjuna said, I'm just seeing the eye of the bird, nothing else. So because he was very focused, and if we realize, like, even in our spiritual journey, initially we are very focused when we begin the journey. But somewhere along the way, we also get distracted because there's so many distractions. And so the journey really is about learning how to bring the attention back on track every now and then. Right? So we, just like in the video, it said just to align with the life. Right? So when I let go, I align with the flow. Right? Right? So if we see what is it that takes my attention away from the truth. And it's said very nicely that it's not a philosophy, but it's the law of consciousness. Right? There was, we have heard about Kabir Das ji, who used to write a lot of, what do you call, dohe, right? Proverbs. And one such instance was, that he was a very good devotee, and every morning he would go to the temple and offer his prayers to the deity. And on his way back to his home, he would see a butcher, butcher who is, like um, uh, a kasai जिसे कहते हैं, right? And so he would be filled with so much, like good feelings. And the moment he would see that, all his consciousness will, just come down. And then he would say to himself, oh, why is this person doing this? Why is this happening? Right? So his mind was very puzzled. And then he wrote this doha. He said, कबीरा तेरी झोपड़ी गल कटियन के पास जो करेंगे सो भरेंगे तू क्यों भयो उदास. That was really nice. Like your house is close to a butcher shop, but you don't worry. Everyone is responsible for their own actions. So it's like sometimes when our focus goes on others, oh, this is doing this is happening like this situation is like this. Sometimes you forget the law of life, right? And so when the focus is just on, and in every Murli, what does Baba say? What should be the focus on?
Karma.
The two things, right? One is
Soul consciousness.
think of yourself as a soul, and then remember the Supreme Soul. So this is the track. This is what I have to again and again bring my attention to. Everything else is a distraction. If you really think about it, means this is the path. Really, I have to train myself to bring it back, to bring my mind to. I'm doing something. Okay, I am a soul. I remember God. Right? Whatever, something good happened, bad happened, whatever happened, but I have to learn the art of just training my mind to again and again come back to this truth. Right. And then we realize that spiritual journey is really very beautiful. It's just about learning how to come back to this truth. That's all. Right. And that's what the word is, a warrior. A warrior is one who is actually, working on himself, is improving his, honing his skills. And that's what we're also doing, right? Says, stay focused on your goals and ignore the noise. Because we need to know what is noise and what is not. So if I have the goal in my mind clear, everything else is a noise. Noise means it's not important. This one is doing this, not important. This thing happened to me, not important. Means if I know it is noise, then I can ignore it. But if I don't think it is noise, then I cannot ignore it. And that's what then I start to pay attention to. And that's how, I can pay attention to fear. I can pay attention to doubt, right? Worry, unpredictable. And that's where the game changes. So it says, a spiritually mature person pays constant attention to what is happening in the innermost self. So either I can pay attention to outside, whatever is happening outside. And what is the other option? I can pay attention to inside. What is happening inside. And so what is in my control? Outside or inside?
Yes.
Inside. outside is anyways not in my control. So what's the point of even paying attention outside? And so that's where it says spiritually mature means once I realize, once I have understood the spiritual principles, then I realize that really there is no point paying attention to the external. Everything actually is internal. Right? Right. There is a very famous writer. His name is Wayne Dyer. And he has a little clip about this thing, about how it's important to pay attention to the self and not let it get diluted. So let's watch it.
I honestly feel that all of us, we all come from the same place. We think that we're different because we live in a certain place, or because our color of our skin is a little different, or we're a little taller or a little shorter. But basically, all of this is just an illusion, this physical thing that we're in, even the physical world that we're in. You know, my teacher used to say to us, the only thing that's real is that which never changes. The things that are constantly changing aren't real, because the moment you get a hold of it, it's something else. And I think if you come back to Newfoundland 20 years from now, you'll see a lot of changes. Things are constantly in motion. But there's something eternal that infuses everything, and it's in every single one of us. It's in all of us. And that's what I pay attention to, whether I'm in Cambodia or whether I'm in South Africa or any place in the world. I just see the unfolding of God in everything and everyone.
Paying attention to that what is real. Only that which is constant is real. That which is changing is not real. And so this whole physical world, everything is changing every time. Right? So the more I pay attention to the physical world, I am paying attention to the unreal. So that's what spiritual effort really is, to just again and again bring back attention to that which is real. Right. There is a little slide here. It says, so paying attention to the truth. It says choosing truth over feelings in a world of self-doubt. So sometimes, my mind sees the truth, but sometimes it is influenced by feelings. So what are the two states of mind? So feelings will say, I am unlovable. And the truth will say, I am loved by an everlasting God. Right? So in the feeling mode, my attention goes into what is not, and that I'm not worthy. Right? Feelings, I am unwanted. Truth is, I am chosen by God. Feelings, I am a failure. Truth is, imperfect progress is still progress. Right? So it's like when I focus on doubt, self-doubt, that's all these feelings will come up. Right? मैं को ठीक नहीं है, ये ऐसा नहीं होना, मतलब, all those feelings will come. But then the moment I pay attention to the truth, then all these feelings will disappear. And I will just be able to just pay attention to the truth. It says, don't worry about what others think about you, but pay close attention to what you think about yourself. Mhm. There is something that others think about me, and one is what I think about myself. So I have to ignore what others think about me, and I have to pay attention to what I think about myself. Mhm. 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 Right. Mhm. Here's another, it says, pay attention to your intention. Mhm. Pay attention to your intention. Right? So, with what intent I'm doing something. So, to pay attention to that. Sometimes, and even for the self and others. Mhm. Sometimes we may pay attention to the external, right? Their behavior or personality. But if I pay attention to the intention with which someone is saying or doing something, then I can easily overlook the imperfections and just focus on the perfect. Mhm. Right? Mm. So there is another story on this. Let us watch the story.
One day, a deer was wandering in the forest in search of water. Its throat was parched, but even after searching for a long time, it couldn't find any water. After a while, exhausted, it sat under a tree. Suddenly, it heard the sound of a river. It ran toward the sound and found a huge river. Seeing the river, the deer felt overjoyed, like it had found a new life. It quickly went to the river and bent down to drink. Just then, it heard a noise to its right. It looked and saw a hunter aiming an arrow at it. Then it looked to the left and noticed a lion hiding behind the bushes. Turning around in panic, it saw a terrifying fire approaching. Danger had surrounded it from all sides. The deer paused for a moment, thinking deeply, and then decided, since death is certain, I'll at least drink water before I die. At that very moment, dark clouds gathered and it started raining. The fire was put out, and because of the rain, the hunter accidentally shot the lion with his arrow. The lion then charged toward the hunter. Meanwhile, the deer stayed focused on drinking water. When it finally lifted its head, it saw that both the hunter and the lion were gone. Looking back, it saw the fire had also disappeared. The lesson from this story is, like the deer, problems in our life come from all directions, but panicking won't help. We need to stay calm, think clearly, and focus on our goals. The deer had options. It could have jumped into the river or run in different directions. But it stayed committed to its goal, drinking water. In our lives too, problems may surround us. But if we stay focused on our work, those problems will eventually go away on their own. Therefore, to solve life's problems, we need courage, patience, and the ability to make the right decisions. Don't just be afraid. Keep working. Never worry about what the world will say. Just keep doing your work. One day, the world will look at you in awe. If you believe this story should reach more people,
You understand the story, right? So this deer wants to drink water and goes to the river, but suddenly he sees on one side there is the hunter, the other side there is lion, and at the back there is the fire. And so he doesn't know what to do. And so he said, okay, I'll just focus on what I have to do. And suddenly the clouds came, the rains came, the fire got extinguished, and then the hunter hit the lion, and the lion, they both had a fight. Suddenly everything gone. So the lesson really is that sometimes we pay attention on problems, trying to fix problems, right? And that's where, when the attention is on trying to fix problems, that's where we lose the plot. And so the real lesson from this story is that whatever may be coming or happening or not happening, so I don't need to focus on that. I just need to focus on what I have to do right now. And if I just focus on that, then sooner or later the problems will automatically disappear. And I know it's a simple story, but it's meaningful, right? So it really allows us to keep our attention to the self and what is really important.
मुझे चारों तरफ परेशानी दिखाई दे, अपने शांत स्वरूप स्थिति में
हाँ,
रहते हैं, शांति से बैठे तो सही,
सही, right.
तो सॉल्यूशन ऑटोमेटिकली आ जाता है, क्योंकि शांति के सागर को वो टच होता है,
Touch होता है.
प्रॉब्लम सॉल्यूशन।
Yeah. And that's what it says. Focus on God, not your problem. Focus on God, not your problem. Listen to God, not your insecurities. Rely on God, not your own strength. Focus on God, not your problem. That's ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है. Listen to God, not your insecurities, because my insecurities will distract me away to the world of problems. And rely on God, not your own strength. Sometimes we think, okay, I don't have that much strength to deal with the situation, but I have to rely on God's strength, not my own strength. Right? There is a nice quote or abbreviation rather. It defines pain. PAIN. It says, pay attention inwards now. Because whenever we have pain, right, it's an opportunity for us to pay attention inwards. Because pain comes when we are not able to solve a problem, then that's what we feel pain. Right? But when I realize, okay, even if there is a pain, but it's an opportunity for me to pay attention inwards. And many times we will see that, we take up the spiritual journey whenever we have a pain. If there's something not happening good in life, that's where we will start. Because otherwise we are, lost in the outer world. So we have a few thoughts on natural attention. That's what Baba talks about, natural attention. We try to understand it. Says meditation is nothing but paying attention to the invisible, to the seed of life, the soul. Paying attention to the divine, to the reality, and naturally paying attention. Not out of force, but naturally. When I maintain the undercurrent of natural attention, it is easy for me to be in a naturally meditative frame of mind. Like Brahma Baba was a very natural meditator. You wouldn't see Brahma Baba sitting for long, long hours, but he would actually be a karma yogi. When I pay a lot of attention to the story, means the drama, I lose touch with purity of the soul. I allow scenes and personalities to contaminate my mind. Wherever my attention goes, that's where the energy flows. So it's really paying attention to the invisible, the seed. Then it says, if my attention is towards the roles, characters, towards maybe something which is not right in the story, then the soul energy gets depleted. Mhm. So if my attention is drawn outside, the soul energy gets depleted. When my attention is on the divine, my home, on the eternal aspect of this life, then naturally the energy flows upwards. Meditation is to make this natural. Mhm. Right? So if my attention is too much on the story, then the energy goes down, depleted. But when my attention is on the soul, my home of light, God, my eternal family, then automatically the energy flows upwards. Meditation is just to make this process natural. Example is when the mother is cooking food, she is aware of her child in a very natural way. In the same way, for me to be aware of the spiritual dimension of the eternity in a natural way. Right? Just to be aware that there is this spiritual dimension. I still do everything, I play the role, I come into sound and action, but from that eternal perspective. It is then that my actions don't drain my energy, but instead they allow me to go deeper into my awareness. That's what Karma Yoga really is, right? So actions are not depleting my energy, but they're actually strengthening my awareness. To make it natural is the ultimate aim of the spiritual life, to make this attention natural. And the last it says, when there is attention, then there is retention. When there is attention, then there is retention. When I build the muscle of paying attention to the eternity, the more there is retention of the spiritual wisdom, spiritual experiences. Because only then I can hold the spiritual experiences. If I don't pay attention to the eternity, I cannot hold. Otherwise, it is very easy to lose them, as it is very slippery. When I pay more attention than necessary to the story, then there is no attention. It is then detention in the world of the role. You know, detention? Detention is like a prison or a cage. So when I pay attention to the truth, then there is retention of spiritual knowledge. And when I pay attention to the drama, then there is detention in the story world. The soul gets locked up in the world of the role. Whatever happens outside dictates what happens inside me. Mhm. Whatever happens outside dictates what happens inside me. So the way to get out of detention is to pay attention. Mhm. The way to get out of detention is to pay attention to who I am, who is mine, and my eternal existence and the presence of the source. Mhm. And who I am, a soul, who is mine, the divine, my eternal existence, and the presence of the source. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Cha, cha, om, shanti. Mhm. So let's take a moment to just take our attention, to shift our attention to the reality, the seed, the invisible, the soul. I realize that only the soul, the invisible, is real, it is constant. And I realize that that's who I truly am. I live in my world above, my home of light. I belong to the divine, and the divine belongs to me. We're all souls, actors, and this is the play of life where we're all playing our roles. So, whilst coming into sound and action and enjoying the play, I just have a natural attention to this reality. And this allows me to just stay awake, to be in clarity. It allows me to just be myself. It allows me to just focus on God, not on the problems. To focus on the truth, not the feelings. It just allows me to see everything from the eternal soul's perspective. Om Shanti. Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, family. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Let's open up, and anyone would like to share any thoughts, maybe on the Zoom, please feel free to. Om Shanti. Sure, we have a few angels here. Just
Thank you.
yes, Sanchit Bhai. Yes, Sanchit.
Om
Om
Shanti. Sorry, Saurabh, I thought that it's unmuted. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Again, a beautiful session. Power of attention. I really like the video of the deer where he was surrounded by the problems. However, when he he um, uh, he connected, and what he needed was drinking water, and of course what we need is connection with the God, and everything, all the problems got sorted out by itself. So that's my first takeaway. And second is also the pain point, which is also says pay attention inwards now, and move that to an opportunities further to focus inwards and connecting to the Supreme Soul. That's my two takeaway. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanchit Bhai. Om Shanti.
I think I really liked that when you pay attention to the real, like then there is retention.
Mm.
But when you pay attention to the story, it's like you're putting yourself in detention. So that was a nice quote that was as a takeaway. And then I also like the quote by Bruce Lee where he said, the warrior, it's just an average man, but with a laser-like focus. Because sometimes, at least in the spiritual journey, sometimes you feel you're like very, very ordinary. But it's just about, like you said in the whole class, and it's just about paying attention, coming back to that, and then training the mind to focus on the invisible and not everything else that's going around. So thank you so much. It was a great class. Om Shanti.
Thank you.
थैंक यू सर भाई, काफी अच्छा आज हमारा पॉइंट लिया है कि पे अटेंशन। जिस प्रकार से कहते हैं छोटे बच्चे पर भी अगर अटेंशन रहता है हमारी पावर वहां जाती है, वो बच्चा एक अच्छा ग्रो करता है। या पौधों पर भी छोटे छोटे पौधे अगर हमारा अटेंशन है तो अच्छा ग्रो करते हैं और फल फूल अच्छे आते हैं। राइट वे हमारी स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी में भी अगर मेरा अटेंशन द सोल पर है, सुप्रीम सोल पर है, और मेरे कर्मा ड्रामा पर है, तो एवरीथिंग इज ओके।
कहते हैं जो से स्टोरी बताई, चारों तरफ परिस्थिति थी और तब वो परेशान नहीं हुआ, उसका ध्यान उधर एक सुपर पावर पर गया, तो सब कुछ उसके अनुकूल हो गया। जो बाबा भी कहते हैं कि आप घबराओ नहीं, मैं हूं ना। तो कोई परिस्थिति अगर हमें घेर रही है, चारों तरफ से ही कुछ परिस्थितियां हैं, तो अटेंशन फॉर मी एंड गॉड एंड कर्मा। कर्मा इज सीड, तो जैसा मेरा कर्म होगा वैसा रिजल्ट निकलता है। तो ऐसे ही अगर मेरा सोल पर अटेंशन है तो हर कर्म मेरा सही होगा, और परमात्मा की याद में है तो पुण्य का खाता भी जमा होगा, तो एवरीथिंग इज ओके। सो ओनली 3 पॉइंट जो बाबा कहते हैं, सोल, सुप्रीम सोल एंड राम। थैंक यू,
Very nice.
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you. Om Shanti. Power of attention. अच्छा टॉपिक था, अच्छा पॉइंट है, अच्छे डिस्कशन से अच्छे सब सुनने में बहुत अच्छा। लेकिन उसमें एक ये है कि जनरली हमको अटेंशन देना है उसके ऊपर जो हमारे कंट्रोल में है, और गलती हम 99% यही करते हैं कि जो हमारे कंट्रोल में है, उस पर अटेंशन देते हैं और दुखी रहते हैं। जो हमारे कंट्रोल में नहीं है, the things which are not in my control, or I cannot change them. I am worried for that only. I am losing my all energy. Simply, there was a quote that if you don't give attention, it will lose its power. And one thing also in management, the things you don't want to come, ignore them. Once you ignore, things will go quiet. Even in the worst conditions, when you have no control over anything, so better leave it to the drama. जो होगा देखा जाएगा। तो हम कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते, तो सोचने से फायदा क्या। जो होना होगा हो जाएगा, अच्छा होगा बुरा होगा, लेकिन लॉन्ग रन में वो अच्छा ही हो। तो किसी चीज को अगर हम 1 मिनट देखें, 1 घंटा देखें, 1 दिन, 1 महीना, 1 साल, उसी चीज को हम सोचा 50 साल बाद क्या, 50 साल में क्या इफेक्ट होगा, तो कुछ नहीं होगा। और जो सोल की जर्नी तो कोई 1-2 साल की नहीं है, ना 100 साल की, ना 200 साल की, ये तो कंटिन्यूअस है। 5,000 years repeatedly, 5,000, 5,000, there is no end. लेकिन उसके लिए मेहनत करनी है। उसमें एक अगर टाइम होता है, छोटी सी एक कहानी सी है। एक आदमी था, मतलब रिटायर हो गया, 65-70 साल उम्र हो गई। अब वो हर चीज के लिए चिंता रहता था, तो बहुत परेशान होता, चिड़चिड़ा हो गया वो। एक दिन उसने सोचा, मैं क्यों चिड़चिड़ा हूं, मैं क्यों सोचता हूँ ऐसा। उसकी लड़की है, पापा वो कार खराब हो गई है, क्या करूं। बोला जो मर्जी करो, कार खराब होगा, ऑटो से चले जाओ, बस से चले जाओ, रिक्शे से चले जाओ, ठीक करा लो, खरीद लो, पैसे बचाओ, खरीद लो। लड़का है, मैं फेल हो गया हूँ, कोई बात नहीं, फेल हो गया तो मेहनत करो, पास हो जाओगे। मिसेज ने कहा कि मुझे अपने मैके जाना है। बोला ठीक है जाओ, और जितने दिन जाओ उतने दिन रहो। राइट। अब सब परेशान हो गए, ऐसा क्यों हो गया ये। अरे चिंता करते थे सबकी। उसने बोला कि आपने किससे शिक्षा ली है, कौन आपका दोस्त बना है। बोला कोई नहीं, अपने आप से। बोले अपने आप से मतलब, मैंने अपने आप से सोचा कि मैं कर क्या सकता हूँ, चिंता करने से क्या होगा। तो किसी फिक्र मत करो, शांत रहो। तो वही है कि जो चीज हमारे हाथ में है
उसी को सोचें जो हमारे हाथ में नहीं है। सोचने से दुखी मिलेगा,
Right.
परेशानी बढ़ेगी, ब्लड प्रेशर बढ़ेगा, शुगर बढ़ेगी, हार्ट अटैक आएगा। ये अटेंशन है तो अटेंशन उस पर दें हम जो हमारे कंट्रोल में है, जिसको हम बदल सकते हैं, जिसको कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते, तो उसमें सोचने से फायदा क्या। छोड़ दें ऊपर वाले के ऊपर, ये ड्रामा के ऊपर। तो हर एवरीबॉडी इज ओन
Right.
पार्ट। ये था।
इसलिए वहाँ
Very
बहुत
nice.
इजी कर दिया, क्या इजी कर दिया
Right.
कि बच्चे खुद के बारे में सोचो मैं कौन हूँ, परमात्मा के बारे में सोचो कौन मैं किसकी नजरों में हूँ। परमात्मा का टेंशन हमारे ऊपर है। नजर कहते हैं ना, नजर से वो निहाल की ना सब कुछ। तो इस संगम युग में आकर वो नजर रख रहा है, माने अटेंशन दे रहा है। तो जिस पर परमात्मा का टेंशन है वो कितना है ना, निडर होगा, निर्भय होगा, शक्तिशाली होगा, और वो एक जन्म नहीं अनेक जन्मों के लिए होगा, जो भगवान कहते हैं।
Right.
तो इसलिए चिंता भगवान कहते मैं करता हूँ ना, मैं बैठा हूँ ना, तुमको चिंता करते हूँ। तो सिर्फ अब ये टेंशन मैं आत्मा, मेरा पिता परमात्मा, मैं सोल, सुप्रीम सोल एंड ड्रामा, कुछ सोचना ही नहीं, सब अच्छा ही होगा। अगर मेरा ध्यान परमात्मा पर है, वो मैं उसकी नजरों में हूँ, तो गलत तो हो ही नहीं सकता ना। अगर मेरा अटेंशन अपने कर्मा पर है, मैं सोल पर है, मैं अपने ऊपर है, तो गलत तो हो ही नहीं सकता। तो चिंता फिकर मुक्त। अच्छा, नाइस पॉइंट, टॉपिक था पावर। जहाँ हम सोचते हैं वहां हमारी पावर जाती है।
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Any last thoughts? Anyone wants to add? Sure. Have a good rest of the evening. Om Shanti. Thank you. Thank you.